Hey, what's up everyone? My name is Wes, work the Forge, and in today's video we are talking D&D subclasses from the new Exploring Eberron book from Keith Baker, the original creator of Eberron. So this is about as canon as it gets. Um, so yeah, let's go. Before we get into it, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I'm trying to get to 500 subs, so I would really appreciate the help. Anyway, we are going to get right into it. So we have the forged Adept Artificer, right? So this is the Battlesmith, but without the pet. To some of you, you're like, but why no pet? And others are probably like, oh, cool, I can finally play my Battle Artificer, like my Gish Artificer, without having a pet be the focus of my class. So yeah, you get 2 proficiencies just like the Battlesmith. You gain Battle Ready just like the Battlesmith. Your Artificer spells are a bit different. Your spell list is Arm of Agathis, Shield of Faith, Spiritual Weapon, Warding Bond, Beacon of Hope, Remove Curse, Death Ward, Fire Shield, Branding Smite, and Wall of Force. Yeah, that is your Artificer spell list, and there's some pretty good spells on there. Yeah, I was about to say Gaushite instead of Gausharat, which is Goblin for Mighty Blade. So, as a magic action, you basically take your Smith's tools to a simple or martial weapon, and it becomes your Gausharat. It becomes a magic weapon if it's not already a magic weapon, which means it would then work with your arcane empowerment, allowing you to use your intelligence for it, and also be able to use it as a spellcasting focus thanks to your weapon knowledge. Alright, so yes, it becomes a +1 weapon unless it's already a +1 weapon. So if it's not magical, it becomes magical and +1. If it is magical and doesn't have a +1, well, it stays magical and now gets a +1 on top of whatever else it may have done. Like, I think the Weapon of Warning is a common magic weapon, or uncommon magic weapon, but it's not a +1 weapon, so you could make that your Mighty Blade if you ever came across it. It's also going to become a returning weapon, so your weapon has a thrown property, so it'll have a range of 30 feet and a long range of 120, and it returns to your hand immediately after you throw it. At level 5, you'll get extra attack, and then at level 9, you're going to get Runes of War. Your Mighty Blade becomes a +2 magic weapon now, and then you also get Aura of War. As a magic action, you can boast yourself and your allies a 30-foot emanation with you as the center of it, right? Everyone's weapons get a +d4 of extra damage, and that damage can be acid, cold, fire, lightning, or thunder. Their weapon or unarmed strikes for 1 minute do an extra 1d4 damage, you and your allies. So it's like Crusader's Mantle, but instead of radiant, it's elemental damage types. So really good. And this is intelligence modifier times per long rest, which at this level could be maxed. At level 15, you're going to gain Perfect Weapon. Your Mighty Blade is now a +3 weapon, and it always deals an extra 1d6 of acid, cold, fire, lightning, or thunder damage. And then on top of that, you have resistance to psychic damage, and you are immune to the Charmed and Frightened condition. So your magic weapon just becomes better and better as you level up. The level 20 optional feature for this is their aura is always active, and they can change the damage type as a bonus action. But enemies who start their turn in that aura take damage equal to the aura damage type, and you can empower the aura. So for 1 minute, your damage from your aura deals an extra 2d6 instead of its normal 1d4. Your allies will be doing an extra 2d6 damage. You're going to be doing an extra 2d6 damage, and any enemy who starts their turn in your aura is going to be taking an extra 2d6 damage. Really powerful. But it's also at level 20, so really good. The Maverick Artificer, they gain 2 proficiency in Tinker's Tools, which is like the most Artificer thing you could have proficiency in. They don't get a spell with a table list of prepared spells. Instead, they can prepare a number of spells equal to their proficiency bonus from the Artificer, Cleric, or Wizard spell list. On top of getting these arcane prototypes, they are going to have like a maximum of 5 by the time they're level 20, and each of these prototypes can hold a spell from the Artificer, Cleric, or Wizard spell list. So between the 2 that you would have from your proficiency bonus at this level, at level 3, and the 1 from here, you could think about it like having 3 additional spells, right? And then, like I said, at level 20, you'd have 5, and then plus the 6 from your proficiency bonus, so a total of 11 different spells that you could have as like prepared spells. That's one way to look at it. All right, but yeah, the arcane prototypes. There's this table that scales with your level of number of prototypes you could have, which are magic item. They're like spell scrolls basically, and you can just prepare them whenever you finish a long rest. The spells max level is shown on the table as well. Starts at level 1, ends at level 6, and then your arcane charges are the cost of these spells, right? So at level 1, you're gonna have 1 spell of level 1 and only 1 charge, but at level 5, you'd know 2 different prototypes. You'd be able to, they could both be like level 2, or they could both be level 1, or you can have 1 level 2 and 1 level 1 spell. However, you're only gonna have 3 charges total, so you could cast like 3 level 1 spells, or a level 2 and a level 1 spell with your prototypes. Then that, like I said, the numbers scale, so the number of prototypes you'll have, and the like number of max levels, and always the charges. Level 5, you can add your intelligence modifier to one of your damage rolls, as long as you have Tinker's tools in your possession. Level 9, you can swap one of your prepared spells on a short rest. So whenever you finish the short rest, you can replace one of your prepared spells with a new spell from the Artificer, Cleric, or Wizard spell list. It doesn't say it has to be one of your like prepared subclass spells. It just says prepared spells, and Artificers are prepared spellcasters. So does that mean spells that are normally on your Artificer table are up for grabs and swappable? And then level 15, they can now swap a prototype on a short rest, and they ignore any class, species, or spell level requirements for attuning to a magic item. Then their level 20 option is they can cast, as a magic action, cast any 8th level spell or lower without any components once per long rest. So they are like the Magic-Ease Artificer of Artificering. Very creative. Like always, like the true right tool for the job. Between like your prototypes, like you just have Hero's Feast and a Dinner Bell, or Dark Vision and a set of goggles, because like it's one-time use spell scrolls that take effect immediately. You could have Revivify and a Feather, so you can treat it like a Phoenix Down. A lot of cool stuff you could do. Alright, then we are going to move on to the Bard. We have the College of the Dirge song. Broad Inspiration, you know the Guidance cantrip, and whenever you target a creature with Bardic Inspiration, you can target a second one within the same range, well, within range, which is 60 feet for Bardic Inspiration. So you give out 1 Bardic Inspiration, but 2 people gain Bardic Inspiration. That's awesome. You're gonna have the whole party with Bardic Inspiration in like 2 turns, 1 turn, depending on your party size. Then you also gain proficiency in history or performance skills. If you already have proficiencies, you gain expertise instead. This can be a way to get a 3rd expertise at this level, or like just extra proficiencies. Okay. So far so good. Level 6, Commanding Voice. When you take the attack action or the magic action, 2 creatures of your choice who possess Bardic Inspiration can expend it use the reaction to immediately make 1 attack with a weapon or unarmed strike, adding your Bardic Inspiration to the damage. Okay, if you have a rogue in your party, this is really good. because you can bonus action give 2 people Bardic Inspiration for the cost of 1, and then attack someone or cast a spell like you would normally, and then they could immediately use their reactions to deal damage. This is actually a good way to finish an enemy off too. Let's say all 3, you and your 2 allies were all gonna attack anyway, the enemy was barely on 1, and it's just a cool party how do you want to do this moment. If your rogue was going to use like cunning action to or their cunning strikes to, I don't know, lose a d6 worth of damage, well now you're giving them a d8 worth of damage back by doing this. You also have to be careful because your comrades don't have Bardic Inspiration, then they can't do this ability, so you can't do this ability. But there's no limit to how many times you can do this. I guess your Bardic Inspiration. However, once again, so if you have like 5 uses at this level, 4 uses at this level, you technically have 8 uses because you're empowering 2 people every time you send 1 out. So that's one way to look at it. And if your party already started with some Bardic Inspiration, and then you handed them, and then like combat started, you used this ability, and then afterwards gave them Bardic Inspiration again, that's even like a better way to look at it, but they lost their reactions, so who knows. Then battle him as a bonus action at the start of a battle hymn, which can be heard all creatures within 60 feet, and the hymn lasts until the start of your next turn. While the hymn is active, whenever an ally within 30 feet who can hear you makes an ability check or a saving throw, they can add a d4 ability check to the save, or to the ability check or save. Okay, so like especially if you gave out all of your Bardic Inspiration already, you can still just do this because there's no limit to how many times you can do this. So as a bonus action, just every time, I guess, unless you're using like Healing Word or something, you can just be handing out Bless, like on saving throws, and or guidance on ability checks. It's pretty good. And then we're going to move on to our Mind Cleric. Mind Domain. They have Command, Detect Thoughts, Dissonant Whispers, Mind Spike, Clairvoyance, Fear, Confusion, Phantasmal Killer, Synaptic Static, Telekinesis, Psychic Feedback. They get at level 3. Just lets them expend use of their Channel Divinity and make somebody who succeeded on a Wisdom save roll again and just take the lower. It says you impose disadvantage, but however it says somebody who succeeded already on a save. So it is kind of like Silvery Barbs, but it's only on Wisdom saving spells, which I mean some of the worst, like Hold Person, Hold Monster, Dominate Person, Command, are all like Wisdom saves that you can be thrown out there. And also at level 3 you have Psychic Force. When you cast a Cleric spell that deals radiant damage, you choose to have it deal Psychic instead. And when you cast a spell that deals Psychic damage, you can add your Charisma modifier to damage against one of the spell's targets. Alright, then level 6, Galsala Anchor, 10 foot. You always have this 10-foot emanation active unless you're incapacitated. You and your allies just gain +2 to all elemental saves. Intelligence, Wisdom, and Charisma saves, you guys just get a +2 to. Always. Unless there's another Mind Domain Cleric nearby, and then it's whose is better wins. Then at level 17, you gain Bend Reality. When an ally you can see within 30 feet of yourself fails a saving throw, you can replace the save with a 20. So you can just say, yeah, once per short rest, basically. One of your friends fails a saving throw. No, they didn't. They got nat 20 on that. Alright, they're good. They're fine. That level 6 feature is really good. The Psychic Feedback is also really good. So is the... Yeah, no, that's a really good Cleric. Circle of the Forged Druid. We have... Steel Skin. Your maximum challenge rating for your wild shape equals your druid levels divided by 3 rounded down. So level 3, level 1 CR challenge rating. It's very much like the Moon Druid. However, the Moon Druid gets even more temp HP, I believe. Your AC is 15 plus your Wisdom, or the beast, whichever's higher. You have resistance to poison damage. You also have advantage on to avoid or end the poison condition. You don't gain exhaustion levels from dehydration, malnutrition, or suffocation. You don't need to sleep, and magic can put you to sleep. And you're obviously made of metal or resemble a warforge. You do not look like a normal animal. Alright, then your spells are Blade Ward, Identify, Mirror Image, Haste, Fire Shield, and Animate Objects. At level 6, you are going to gain Elemental Strikes. You can change the damage type of your natural attacks to Acid, Cold, Fire, Lightning, or Lightning damage. And then you also have Elemental Cascade. You choose one of the damage types, like I said before, Acid, Cold, Fire, or Lightning. And on your turn, you can expend a spell slot to deal extra damage equal to 1d6 per spell slot level to a maximum of 5d6. The target must make a con save, and against your spell save DC on a failed save, suffer one of the effects of the chosen damage type for 1 minute. And then repeats these saves at the end of each of its turns, ending it on a success. So once per turn you can smite, but if you do an acid smite, then they have to subtract your wisdom modifier from their AC. That's crazy, because that's like, this is level 6, so that's like a -4, but let's just say you have an 18, then that is a -4 to somebody's AC. That is pretty strong debuff right there. Cold, the target speed is 0 and they have disadvantage on strength and dexterity checks. Fire, the target takes damage equal to your wisdom modifier at the start of each of its turns. That's small tick damage. I think the lowering the AC is more powerful than that. Lightning, the target can't make opportunity attacks, and the first attack it does on each of its turns has disadvantage. I think Acid and Lightning are the most powerful there. Then we have Adamantine Hide. When you're not wild shaped, and something forces you to like make a save, or you're hit by an attack roll, you can just wild shape as a reaction. And then while you're wild shaped, you have resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage. In addition, that's awesome. Alright, level 14, Construction Perfection. Yeah. Your wild shape is now 16 plus your Constitution or your Wisdom modifier, or whatever's higher. So at this level, you'd have like a 21 AC. And then you also have immunity to the Charmed, Frightened, Paralyzed, Petrified, and Poison conditions and poison damage. So you have resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, slashing. You're immune to poison damage, immune to a bunch of conditions. You can't become exhausted from like certain means either. You don't have much in the temp HP department, but you're tanky and you can smite. Okay, we have the Warrior of the Living Weapon, the Monk. Alright, so martial forms. You can spend a focus point to go into this martial form for 10 minutes and choose one of the following options. Forged Heart. Whenever you hit an object with an unarmed strike, it is a critical hit against objects. Right. In addition, when you hit a creature with an unarmed strike granted by your flurry of blows, the target must succeed on a strength save or be pushed 15 feet away from you. Okay. It costs 1 focus point to enter this form, and this feature works specifically with an unarmed strike granted by flurry of blows. So that's going to cost another focus point to flurry of blows. Nightmare Shroud. When you use your deflect attack, the attacking creature must make a wisdom saving throw. On a failed save, the creature has the frightened condition. Traveler's Blade, your reach increases by 10 feet. Wear Touch, when you reduce an enemy within 5 feet to 0 hit points, you gain temporary hit points equal to 1 roll of your martial arts die, so a d6 at this level, plus your monk level, so d6 plus 3. I think Nightmare Shroud's the best one there, because it's just whenever you use your deflect attacks. Level 6, you gain one of the following choices again. Forged Heart, when you make an unarmed strike, you deal extra damage equal to 1 roll of your martial arts die, this once per turn. Magic Shout, you expend 2 focus points to deal psychic damage at a point you can see on a wisdom save, 3 rolls of your martial arts die, so 3d8 at this point. Or Be Frightened, half on a success. Traveler's Blade, you can grapple and to still deal damage. Then Wear Touched, you can spend up to 3 focus points to deal damage to the damage equals the number of rolling your martial arts die. I mean, I don't know if you'd ever expend all 3. I don't know. I think I would go with Forged Heart at this level. So Nightmare Shroud at level 3, Forged Heart at level like 6, possibly Wear Touch at level 6, one or the other. Level 11, you gain, when you use your Self Restoration, you can also remove the blinded, deafened, or grappled conditions. In addition, when you finish a short rest, you can remove a level of exhaustion. When you finish a long rest, you remove all levels of exhaustion. Then at level 17, Merciless Strikes. When you assume your martial form, you can expend an additional 3 focus points, and now it's 4 altogether. And then you're going to gain the following benefits on top of the ones you had earlier. Whenever you attack with an unarmed strike granted by your flurry of blows, you have advantage. But not your normal attacks, just your flurry of blow ones. At the start of a turn, roll 1 of your martial arts that you regain that many hit points. And then you gain a +2 bonus to your AC. I mean, you have all of these going on for you at the same time, so you don't have, thankfully, you don't have to pick here. I don't know if this whole form's worth 3 extra focus points, considering one of them still only functions with Flurry of Blows again. That's all of the subclasses. If I was giving them like a tier system, I would say the Forge Adept is probably like like around an A tier. Doesn't feel that crazy powerful. The Maverick sounds nutty. It's just all over the place, and I don't think I did a very good job of explaining how its table works, but I would say it's probably around A tier as well, because it can become the blaster like the artillerist, or it could become like support focused like the alchemist if it wanted to. It could focus on control. It can do a bit of everything, honestly. It's got that flexibility, so that's actually pretty good. Then there was the bard, the dirge singer. I would say it's probably about I mean, even if you're not using your level 6 feature, just every time you hand out a bardic inspiration, you hand out 2 is really powerful. The cleric that has a +2 to all saving throws at one, or all mental saves, and you know, just being able to give out disadvantage on wisdom saving spells after they've already succeeded is insane. And just like nat 20 to an ally if they like fail a saving throw. But altogether, it would be S tier. However, in actual play, it's probably gonna feel like an A or maybe even a B tier, because it's like I just do everything really good. And then we have the Druid, which is, I guess, a little harder to hit than the Moon Druid, but doesn't have the amount of temp HP that the Moon Druid would. Can smite though. That is the one benefit it has going for it. It can smite. No, it's probably A. Honestly, it's probably A, but I feel like it's a B tier because it doesn't have that survivability. And then yeah, that's about it for the subclasses. Like I said, there are level 20 feature options for the other base artificers as well, given to us in Forge the Artificer, the official D&D book we have from WotC. But yeah, Keith Baker said, let's get rid of Soul of Artifice and give everyone their own special capstone based on their subclass. I mentioned the 2 available here, but the others, I'll just touch on them very quickly, where the Alchemist gains 2 new potions. One is a full restore, clears conditions and pulls you to max HP, or just a full flat out revivify. The other one is a super potion consisting of resilience bonus and flight potions, but it lasts for 8 hours. The armor is basically a 15-foot, 100-foot line, or 100-foot, 15-foot wide line of 30d6 damage, either force, thunder, or lightning, depending on your model. Once per long rest, it's like an Omni Beam, Unibeam. The Artillerist just got some bit better cannon types, like the Flamethrower now does 5d8 damage, and it is a 60-foot cone, a barrage, which it's 5d8 on a failed save, or half as much on success, and that's force damage. And then Restoration is now cannon emits a curated wave of doing 25 hit points plus being cured of blind, deafened, paralyzed, or poisoned. The Battlesmiths were upgraded defender, so their steel defender can attack more, it can fly, has 50 temp HP, and your jolt ability doesn't expend uses anymore. And the Cartographer, they could cast Gate for free. I really like those alternate capstones for the Artificer, and that's everything now from the subclasses in Exploring Eberron. So I've been Wes, where's the fun? Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what your favorite parts were, if you'll use any of these, if you think I was wrong on my end tiers. Other than that, bye.